select these, make sure we have 0 attributes there, just to be sure. All right. Okay, so now I'm going to grab the nodes I need to finish this connection. I'm going to try to keep the left on this side, right on this side, and select what I need. So I'm going to select these 2 controllers. Actually, before I do that, I do want to add the parameter that I need on them. Actually, no, let me set it up first, show you what issues I'm going to run into with the freeform connection, and then we'll create the multiplier. So I'll select these 2 nodes, add them to the graph editor. All right, so I'll go to this on the left side, this on the right side, and I'm going to go grab the squash and stretch nodes. So I want that node right there. Add it to the graph. Yes, it looks like all the parameters are in here. This is for the right side. And just put these controls. I'm pretty sure I just need the transform, not the shape, but just to have everything in there for now. Grab the left one, select it, and add it to the graph. Okay, so these are the 2 squash and stretch controllers, the right and the left. They will come in connected to each other, but don't be confused about this. This is not a connection we have to worry about. Mine needs to make that connection. All right, so what I'm looking to do is connect the translate X on either side into the factor, right? So if I move this, this is translate X into positive. So let's say I tried that connection right now, right? On the left side, if I grab my translate X, yep, looks like I'm looking for, I always get these things confused. Every time I see a control, I think I'm looking at the transform node. Actually, this is the one I want. The transform node is the one that doesn't have the control. We're not looking for the shape node. I'll take these out shortly. All right, so I'm looking to connect translate X to the factor of my squash and stretch controller. So I'll wire that into my factor. So now when I grab the control on the left side and I start to move it, just a little bit of movement does an aggressive squash and stretch. So I need a multiplier of some sort. Well, really a multiplier doing a division, but a value that curtails this aggressive squashing and stretching. Right? It's just too much. And I do want that multiplier to be something that the end user can control. So I'm going to select these 2 controls, and I'm going to go edit, add attribute, and I'm going to call this an increment multiplier, or just increment mult. No, I'll just call it an increment mult. And it's going to be a float parameter. I'm going to set a minimum value for it because I don't want it to go to the negative, but the end user can set it to whichever number they want. And because both controls are selected, if I go add right now, it's going to add an increment multiplier to both of them. So this is what I'm looking to do. I'm going to create a multiply divide node. I'll create one on the other side too. And I'm going to connect my translate X into input 1X. And in input 2X, I'm going to connect my increment multiplier that I just created right there. And what that allows me to do is if I select this controller and as is, I just move it. It's doing this aggressive squashing and stretching. And actually, let me set this to a divide. because that is wrong. With what I'm about to do, I need to set it to a divide. So this increment multiplier that I put in this section right here will allow me to divide whatever results I'm getting out of this function by what number I put here. So if I put a 20 here, now if I move it, it should be reducing how aggressive it is. Let me make sure I have this right. So that's there. That's a divide operation. So basically in input 1, yeah, it is, but as usual, I've forgotten to finish the connection. So I do want to come over here and make sure I plug output X in there. So now with a 20 multiplier, it's going to reduce how aggressive that squashing and stretching is. And if I keep going up, if I go to a multiplier of 50, then it's going to divide the end translation result and then keep the vibration even more contained. All right, this in contrast with it being 0. Sorry, let me. Not 0. I don't think it should be 0. I might have. Yeah, I need to be careful with that number. It should not be. It should never be a 0. You don't want to divide by 0. That's why you got that explosion that I got right now. So I am going to delete the parameter for now because it looks like I picked a wrong minimum value. So I'm going to go right click and delete selected. No, not delete selected. Made a mistake. I'm going to go edit and delete attribute, and that should remove the attribute. I'm going to add it again, go add attribute, make sure I have an increment mult, and the minimum should be 1, should never be a 0. Float value, add them. So there it is, by default set to 1. So now if I plug it into input 2x at the default value of 1, it does this aggressive squashing and stretching with minor translation. And if I set it to 50, now I have a more contained squash and stretch system. So that's the vibration control. So I'm going to call this multiply divide HPL vibration modulation. And do the same thing on the other side. HPR vibration modulation. And do the same thing. Set this up to work the same way. I plug output there. Make sure I set this to a divide. And then plug my increment into input 2x. And then plug output x into my factor. And now if I was to go to the other side with an increment multiplier set to 1, I have this aggressive movement. And if I set it to 50, I have this more reasonable vibration of the headphones. So that's really it. That's all the functionality needed for these headphones, and they're ready to go into the main rig file. I'm going to hold off on color coding anything until I get into the main rig file. So I'll just do that together with the sunglasses, because the sunglasses is what we're going to rig next. But I am going to clean up this graph and also make sure I save this bookmark. Call it headphones squash stretch. Headphones vibration CTRL. Okay. All right, so that's it. Let me just do a little bit of cleanup before I send it over. Actually, first a quick test. So I'm going to move this. That's fine. And the vibration control works as expected. And if I was to go into FK mode, I can rotate this up, and the vibration control still works as expected. How that works. The root control moves everything. Both vibration controls work. Behavioral style of interaction. If I go into IK mode, I grab my root controller, move it. Both vibration controls move as expected, and these controls all still work. So this is a functional headphone system. Now it's time to do locking and hiding of unneeded parameters. So I'm going to grab all of these, and none of these need to be accessible. So I'm going to go lock and hide selected. And then I'm going to hide them because they do not need to be visible. And then I'm going to do the same for this positioner. We don't want them accessible. And then I'm going to do the same for this positioner and this OPM const group. I'm going to lock and hide them. I'll leave visibility for now. And in this instance, the only control needed is translate X and the increment multiplier. So I'm going to lock and hide and just leave the translate and the increment multiplier. All right, so that's it for the headphone rigging, and it is now time to send it into the main rig file. Let me turn off this visualization thing. I'm gonna right click, weights visualization off, weights visualization off, weights visualization off. So this is our functional headphone rig, ready for the main rig file. So I'm gonna hit save. And actually I should delete this stuff because we're done with the skin cage. So I'm gonna come over here and do delete skin curves. Let me turn them on, make sure everything goes away. It's pretty sure it's this simple. Actually, it's both of these. I think you hit both. Nope, you just hit that delete and it clears all the skin curves. All right, that's it for the headphones.